Welcome to Your Town. I'm Chef Wendy Brodie, Art of Food, and my guest today is Soerke Peters. He's the chef owner of Basil Seasonal Dining. And Soerke, welcome.
Thank you.
It's just such a treat to have you. You've only been in this area 5 years now.
That's right.
Looking, and what you have done in 5 years, and our chefs community has gotten to know and love you. You got to be Chef of the Year. You're now our president, and we're so excited to learn more about you. And the one thing that I want to sort of capitalize, besides learning where you were born, how you started, where you went, all of that good stuff, is you are the first certified green restaurant in our area. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I want to know what that means and how we can apply that in our daily lives besides chefs. But let's go back to the beginning. I know it all started in Germany.
That's right.
And the classic story, my grandmother
That's
or
right.
my mom, but make it real for us.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny actually, because I always wanted to be a chef. And I have no idea. Since I was 5 years old. And it's hilarious. And, we don't have Halloween in Germany, but we do Carnival. And that's where the kids dress up. So, and you couldn't,
didn't know that.
And I always wanted to be a chef, so I had a chef costume. And you couldn't buy that in the stores. So my mom had to make it every year new. And my dad tried to talk me out of it. Why don't you be a fireman this year? So because you could buy that. And no, I had to be the chef, and that was it. And even the kids, I'm like, what is that? What are you doing?
Is that framed? That should
Oh
be
yeah, I'm sure I have a picture somewhere. That's hilarious.
Oh, I hope you have the real thing. Okay, well, jumping ahead, so your resume is incredibly impressive.
Thank you.
You've had so many experiences. You went to school. You came over to New York, but fill in the blanks before you got to our West Coast here.
Yeah, so obviously I went through an apprenticeship program. That's 3 years, and that was, really, really tough.
In Germany.
In Germany, and Wilhelmshaven, where I grew up, And
I wondered how you pronounced
yeah,
that
that's
name.
a tough one.
I didn't want to try it.
All these tough names, my name and that. And after that, I moved to Munich. Worked there for 5 years in, fantastic hotels and restaurants. One of them was a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
I went there once.
And, oh, yeah, you
I
did?
was so excited to see that. And you were pastry chef there. And I wanted to just sidebar a little bit. So many of us, when we learn and go through any professional training program, pastry is a whole separate department, and baking. And I think it's so important to have the full background. So go on. I just salute you for that.
Thank you. So I always loved pastries, always made my own cakes, and for the birthdays when I was a kid. So everybody came to me and it's like, okay, you make the cake. I'm like, okay, you got it. So, I like the pastry part about it. But then after I would say about 6 months, 8 months, I'm getting kind of bored again. And I want to be, you want that stress level that you get on the line. Cooking on the line.
Oh, you like
that's quite different than being in the pastry, which is
is,
quieter,
yes.
And you do things on your own terms, and the chef kind of leaves you alone, but on the line not so much,
Yes. So you like that pressure and stress and drain.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun to be. Yeah.
And okay, so you did the apprenticeship, you did the training, and then how did you get to New York? Did you decide to apply?
No, I just left. I just packed my bags and it's like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
Young dude.
Always wanted to come to America. Always watched Kojak at home and Star Trek and you name it, all the other things. And always loved to come to America. Loved New York. And I just left.
And what a food city to
no
come
kidding.
to.
Yeah, so that was very easy to find a job, and I started working for Pinot Longo, the Coco Pazzo Empire, as it was called back then.
And several restaurants.
Yeah, so and then eventually I became corporate chef over the years.
That's
and
impressive.
Yeah, we ran 16 restaurants, and that was great experience,
I know that the early training in culinary school really doesn't help with the business part of things, and it really looks like you got a huge background in the business training as well as the cooking.
Yeah, and I learned all that in New York, when it comes to P&L, profit and loss statements, and managing your food cost and everything else. So yeah,
I might have
to wealth of information.
I feel shorted in that end of things.
Yeah, and I love the number part too. So I actually enjoy that. I like that too.
Yes. Okay. Then what brought you to LA? I take it looked like you went from New York to LA.
Yeah, I went from New York because of September 11. I was about to open a restaurant in New York, and then, things fell apart. And I had to relocate. Nobody was hiring. I already quit my job to do that. And, for the next 6-8 months, there was not much going on in the restaurant industry.
What horrific
it was
thing
horrific,
to go to. Did you participate in any of the aftermath of that?
Not really. I mean, you weren't really allowed to go anywhere, any close to these areas and stuff like that. But I was just that was a shock.
Sorry you had to go through that.
But here we are now. Moved to LA and worked in Hollywood and
principal of adversity. Do you have any fun Hollywood LA stories?
Not that I can think of right now. A lot of actors came to the restaurant. Obviously, that's always fun, and people get amazed by that.
Well, drop a few names. Yes, they are amazed.
Yeah,
We're amazed.
Jolie, Tom Hanks, and all the big bosses.
Well, that's fun. We want to know.
Yeah,
I mean, tell us.
So there's a great people, and and over there it's just normal, really. But,
I lived in LA for a while, and it was fun.
Yeah, one time I remember at the restaurant Ashton Kutcher, he had one of his reality shows. I forgot the name right now, and they were doing a stunt outside in the parking lot. Ooh. And this person was an actor, and I've never seen this valet parking person ever in my life. And I said, who's this guy? Who's this doing? And he was arguing with the customer. So I wanted to get involved as a chef, of course. And I was like, this is ridiculous. You can't do that, And they're like, in the bushes, go away, go away. I'm like, who is this? Who's talking to me? It's almost ruined the show.
oh, that's a good story.
One of those hidden camera shows.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. You can't think of any more. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay. Now we're coming up the coast. What brought you up to our neck of the woods?
Yeah, well, the restaurant Basil was for sale, and my business partner and I, we decided to purchase it and run it and make it better, and we had a great time ever since.
And then we'll start delving into all of the local fun stuff that you've done. But Basil had a wonderful, wonderful reputation when, if I'm Michelin?
Yeah, Michele.
Yeah. And he's now gone into making his own pasta.
He does an awesome job.
It was so charming. It really developed a following. And, of course, he was absolutely charming. And so to make a success and to continue something in a small town, because we're funny in this town. I mean, it's weird. It thinks it should automatically be a success or a failure. Always, you never know. You never know. But you have it was wonderful to begin with, but it is exceptional now. Every time I've gone in, I don't get in there often enough because I always have leftover, and Bob cooks too. So, but I will say parking in Carmel is limited.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
That kind of stops. Yeah, but the food is so beautiful. It's fresh. I mean, you've made a huge organic contribution to your menu, which is, we don't see that we're seeing it more and
Yeah,
more, but
I'm glad.
you really are dedicated to that. Now we'll hit on your first of a kind, being green, and you gave a class on that to all of us chefs. And if you could do a mini version of that right now,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah,
fabulous.
and that was always, because growing up in Germany, we
Yeah.
do a lot of recycling, and it's really part of life over there. And I always wanted to do it with the restaurants, even I was employed to become a certified green restaurant. But for some reason, I never got through to the owner or the investors. And it's like, well, it's too expensive and this, and it's really not. Because there are actually huge savings that involved with that. Just by diverting your recycling and your trash into compost, for example, you get waste to energy. And there's this huge facility in Marina where all my food scraps go to, your potato peels and everything like that. And it gets composted, creates methane gas that runs turbines that creates energy for the adjacent water company. And then you got the full circle. You get the compost going back to the wineries. And it's going back to the earth, goes back to where it came from. So it's really good. And then you divert a lot from the landfills, which is really, really important. Not to do that.
So, I mean, at home when we're composting, you're sending it out, but a lot of us that have it on the counter and we scrape into our little buckets and then we put it into our bin. Are there, I mean, what is good to compost and what isn't? I know that we shouldn't put certain things in there because it kills, but can you?
From what I know from there, Peter, anything that you can possibly eat, any food scraps, even bones and flowers and coffee filters, tea filters, all these things can all be composted. So.
But things to avoid. I mean, you wouldn't put oil scraps.
Oh yeah, no oil, no plastics. Obviously, if you have that kind of thing in the restaurant, you definitely want to do that. And you need compostable garbage bags to seal the thing.
So even garbage bags that are composted.
Yeah.
And where do you buy that kind of a product?
Oh, just get it to your local vendors. They have all these, it's a little more pricey, and that's where people maybe say, well, I don't want to spend that much money for a garbage bag. But now you use a lot less because of the diversion of your trash. And we at Basil, we're almost at zero waste. And, that's fantastic.
So how do they score you? Does someone come in and inspect?
Yes. If you want to be a certified green restaurant, there's an organization out of Boston. They're a nonprofit, and they're called the Green Restaurant Association, GRA for short. And yes, they have a whole point system that they guide you through, and they help you through all these steps. And talking about energy-saving equipment, LED light bulbs, for example. So you get certain points for certain things that you do at your restaurant, and then it comes to
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So as a homeowner, I should be replacing my light bulbs with LED, ideally.
Yeah, that would be and it saves you energy, saves you money, and usually they last for a long, long time. I see some of them that supposed to last like 30 years. I don't know how they figured that out, but
somehow my makeup lights that look like LED aren't. They keep going out, and I need to change them out.
Yeah. But back to the point system. So you got obviously energy, savings, and chemical reduction. We have almost no chemicals at Basil, and even our dishwashing detergents and so forth are all biodegradable or citrus-based. So,
interesting.
So that's another contribution. You keep the planet green and sustainable, and then obviously food is a huge factor. Buying local, not having a huge carbon footprint is important as well. So we get a lot of things from little farms and farmers markets and so forth. So those are the main factors, and water consumption or reduction, really.
And how did you manage that? Because I know all of us that I'm going to talk about with my next guest is hydration. So I always am one now I've got to have a glass of water at a restaurant, and I know for a while we didn't, and it was only upon request that you got
and it's still like that.
Still like that.
It's still like that.
So I shouldn't hydrate at your restaurant.
Oh no, we got the water. They just don't want to waste it, you know.
Yeah, okay.
You know, because you fill up your glass and then you don't drink it, or you didn't even want it. You know, who knows?
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah.
So that's, but all these little factors, so if it comes all together, and then that point system, you know, you can become a 1-star green certified restaurant, 2, 3. We're at 3 right now, and every couple of years you have to recertify. So like check your invoices and make sure, you know, you're doing what you say you're doing, and that you buy local, that you buy organic, and they give you hints and tricks, and it's like, you know, you can do a little better on this, and you can do a little better on that, and or there might be some new development or new equipment that came out that's even better. And so that's amazing, and it generates more business, and employees are more happy, because there are statistics. I think 78% rather work in a certified green restaurant than in a regular restaurant.
Well, congratulations again. That really sets a standard that everybody looks to, and especially for our Chefs Association.
Yeah.
And you know, we were all so interested in your presentation, so I wanted to be sure and share that with the rest of the non-restaurant people, because we can all do our thing.
Yeah.
I mean, with the water that we don't use, we sort of dump in our fountains, and my vegetable water is going to plants.
That's
and
what I
things
do. I
like
do the same
that.
thing. Yeah.
And, so I'm trying. Hydration is what I have to work on. One of the things that you participated in for the first time was the Meals on Wheels Classic d'Elegance, and Arlene Mead, one of our other women chefs, got to help you, and you had a very creative theme. It was a pirates theme this past year. What was the inspiration, and are you going to do it again this year?
Oh yeah, so Arlene and I, we already signed up again.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
You
I'm not quite sure
guy.
what the theme is. I don't know what the theme is, but...
I have to do it alone this year.
Also, did I steal away from you?
You did, but I relinquish her reluctantly.
Okay, so she's out next year. That's it.
Okay.
For sure, you know. But it's a great, obviously, you know, great organization, and you know, all the chefs that participate. I mean, everybody's so generous and take their time, you know, go over there. We're all busy, we all know that.
Yes.
But it's an awesome thing to do, for sure. I'm glad we do it.
Well, do you remember what your menu was as we lead out of enjoying your company?
Yeah, I think there was I think we made
many courses.
Squash carpaccio, because, you know, that's certain ingredients that you're supposed to use. I know we did a filet mignon with probably some parsnip puree and some hash and some black truffles. And Arlene did a outstanding dessert presentation with the pirate theme. That was amazing.
Yes, the treasure chest.
Yeah,
See,
the
I
chocolate
thought
treasure
you
chest.
might have been involved being a past pastry chef. I want to thank you, Soerke, so much for joining us today, and to many more visits.
Thanks
and
so much.
Good luck.
Thanks
I
for
can't
having
wait
me.
to
Thank
come.
you. Great.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Wendy.